Hello, friend, and welcome to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I'm Janet Cagle, certified life coach, business strategist, and lover of all things related to up-leveling my life and yours. My goal is to help you experience a mind shift that gets you one step closer to your goals, whatever they are. My goal is not to keep you wrapped up in self-help all day, just 10 minutes. And who doesn't have 10 minutes, right? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. This is episode 16, and it's all about imposter syndrome. Doesn't that sound like fun? I am going to share with you how it has shown up in my life and the exact steps that I took to crushing imposter syndrome. I'm even going to talk about how to use imposter syndrome for you. All right, let's jump in. First of all, what is imposter syndrome exactly? It is the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. That's fancy talk for dream thief, joy thief, and it's the entree to self-sabotage and the unraveling of living the life of your heart's desire. Do you ever have that sense of waiting to be found out, or that you don't belong, and that in good time all of your inadequacies will be revealed, and then everyone will know you aren't as smart as they think you are, you aren't as organized as you look, and you really don't have your life together? Do you know what I mean? Here's what's crazy. The most seemingly confident person you know also deals with imposter syndrome. We all do, but when we do, it feels like we are the only one, right? It doesn't even matter what your age, your gender, or your line of work. If you are human and you have a brain, you feel like an imposter from time to time. I can remember as early as the first and second grade feeling the imposter show up. It was all very confusing then, and even as an adult, feeling like an imposter can cause all kinds of unnecessary pain. We're going to clear all of that up today, my friends. So where does imposter syndrome come from exactly? The primal part of our brain is wired for being part of a tribe or community. We want to fit in at the very basic level of evolution. It's biology at play here, and maybe just knowing that will be helpful and useful to you, but let's go on. Thousands of years ago, we were safer in numbers. We did need our community for survival. Our desire to be part of the group was for the sake of survival. Today, while we are still in need of community and our people, it doesn't determine our survival, but our brain still has a strong desire for us to fit in, to be part of the tribe, to be part of the community. As humans, we are not very good at evaluating ourselves or each other. On top of that, we are terrible at figuring out what other people really think of us. And when our mindset is left unchecked, we choose the worst possible thoughts to think. We start thinking things like, when they find out, I'm just not going to fit in, or I don't belong, they won't want me. I recall thinking thoughts like this almost every single time that I got a promotion or a raise or got hired for a new role. I would think this so often that it actually took the joy out of getting the promotion. I immediately went into fear of losing it if they found out that I really didn't belong. Imposter syndrome is self-deprecation. It causes a string of indulgent emotions like worry, stress, insecurity, self-doubt, and anxiety. It's easy to see how, as humans, we seek out the buffering behavior of overeating, overdrinking, and overshopping, anything to drown out the noise and the vibration of feeling like an imposter. For many of us, the fear of potentially feeling like an imposter keeps us from throwing our hat in the ring and going for a better job or that promotion. It keeps us from giving relationships a shot. I remember when I first met my husband, he made it very clear that he loved how smart I was and how easy it was for us to talk. So of course, my brain starts throwing me thoughts about how disappointed he will be if he finds out that I'm not as smart as he thinks, and sometimes I'm stubborn, and most of the time, I prefer silence. Imposter syndrome even shows up in friendships. I didn't finish college, and so when I'm having conversations with people who are talking about the college experience and the sorority experience, it's easy for me to find myself shrinking back a little and not feeling like enough, not feeling like I belong to be part of the conversation. Imposter syndrome also shows up when you're trying to achieve a goal or invite, attract, and create outcomes into your life that require that you grow. Even as you start accomplishing things, your brain might throw you thoughts like, you just got lucky, or that was a fluke, even when you are clearly demonstrating competency. My brain still does this from time to time when I'm riding my dressage tests and someone comments on how well I ride or how good we did. I find myself thinking, if they only knew. So if you have noticed how uncomfortable you are with compliments, that might be where imposter syndrome is showing up for you. Another way that it bubbles up is in our performance and thinking that we won't be able to keep it up, a fear of not performing at the same level. This came up strongly for me a few years ago, right after I did my first Western Dressage World Show. Kit and I placed fifth, and honestly, placing was not even in my thought process, so you can imagine how over the moon I was for several weeks doing my first world show and placing fifth. Then, several weeks later, I noticed that every time I started thinking about the next world show, I would start having thoughts like, what if we don't place at all? What will people think? It will mean that this year was just luck. It was a fluke, and that we really don't know what we're doing. The entire year of training for the 2016 World Show was miserable with all of those imposter thoughts. So that is when I found coaching and we started working on my mindset. Before we end today, I'm going to share with you the exact steps that I take when imposter syndrome shows up for me. First, though, I want to talk about what imposter syndrome is not caused by. Here we go. It is not caused by the college you did or didn't go to, your last name that you do or don't have, the neighborhood you live in or the neighborhood you don't live in, the car that you drive or the one that you don't drive, what you have or have not accomplished, the school that your kids do or don't go to. Imposter syndrome is caused by a thought. That's it. It's just a thought. It's the thought that you create and entertain. And that is the best news ever. I love giving equal airtime to everything, so I thought about why is imposter syndrome a good thing and how can you use it for you? So here are 3 reasons why imposter syndrome is a good thing. Number 1, it's an indicator that you're trying something new and that thing is creating growth. That's a good thing. Growth is how you experience transformations and evolve into your highest and best self. There's no other way to do it. Number 2, it's an indicator of where you can do some focus work and invest in your own personal growth at a deeper level. I love indicators that tell me where to focus my work. Number 3, it's an indicator that you're actually gaining expertise. You are learning what you don't know. This is all a good thing. So, here are 6 steps to take when you find yourself feeling like an imposter. Number 1, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being willing to be uncomfortable is the currency to your success in anything in life. We all get uncomfortable when we are trying something new. That's how you know that you are growing. Our brain is automatically going to seek pleasure, avoid discomfort, and conserve energy. That's not going to work if you want to grow and evolve. So be willing to seek growth. Be willing to be uncomfortable and take inspired action. Number 2, focus on what you are learning versus how you are performing or where you are at with your result. When I think about what I need to do in order to earn my bronze medal in dressage, for sure, imposter syndrome shows up. Who do you think you are? You just started riding a few years ago. Your horse has never been shown. Who are you kidding? So I focus on what I've learned instead. I've learned a ton on this journey, and this is a good thing. Think about what you have learned and the person that you are becoming. Number 3, make peace with failure as the only path to success. No one has a straight shot to their target without growing and evolving and having things be hard from time to time. It's totally fine. In fact, if you are not failing, you are not learning and growing. Celebrate a good fail and keep going. Number 4, focus on the value that you are providing. Whatever you are doing, you are providing value. In the area of a new job or promotion, no matter how new you are to the role, you are providing value. I remember a few years ago, I made a huge career move and literally went from being the all-knowing one to not knowing a thing about anything I was doing. It felt very uncomfortable, but here's what I learned. The company didn't hire me because of what I knew about what I was going to be doing. They wanted me for the knowledge that I could bring into the department based on what I had been doing in the past. They wanted that knowledge, and so I was able to focus on where I could distribute the value of my previous role. All right, number 5, keep a fan file. We all have people in our lives that we have touched. When you get a nice note, card, letter, or email, keep it. Read it often and remind yourself of how awesome you are. Number 6, know that feeling like an imposter is coming from a thought. Find that thought. Start calling it out for what it is. It is not a syndrome at all. It's just a thought. And just because you think it does not make it true. And even if you are thinking a thought that is 100% provable in a court of law true, it may not serve you to think it 1 minute more. All right, here's my parting thought. Feeling like an imposter does not mean anything is wrong with you and that you are not broken. Your brain is working perfectly fine, even though it feels crappy. Trust the process of working on a new thought, and if you are ready for your own transformation and ready to take this work to the next level, ping me. All right, my friend, I hope that you have the best week ever. That's a wrap of the 10-Minute Mind Shift podcast. I hope that you were able to experience your own transformation this week. If you love this podcast, I would love it if you would leave me a review, and here is what's in it for you. When you listen and subscribe and screenshot your review, email it to me, you are entered to win $100. As soon as we get to 100 reviews, I will be drawing for the winner. Now, you can only leave one review, but you can enter multiple times. I'm going to leave the details in the show notes. All right, my friends, I hope that you have the best week ever.